Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We will begin with chapter 17, verse 6. Chapter 17, verse 6, only a little bit of a fast forward in the story. There was the showdown with Aaron. A number of the combatants lit the incense, and the earth opened up and swallowed them. And really a remarkable message from God that Moshe was right, Korach was wrong, and don't cross Moshe. I mean, that seems to be pretty strong. And now in chapter 17, verse 6, we really have what might be one of the most remarkable psukim in the Torah. Vayilonu kol adas b'nei Yisrael mimacharos. So the congregation of Israel complained the next day. Al Moshe v'al Aaron, they complained about Moshe and Aaron. Atem hamitem es am Hashem. You have killed the nation of God. And that's amazing. It's just amazing. You know, this was clearly a dramatic moment from God. And it was, there was a tremendous questioning of Moshe's authority. It was fundamental to the running of Klal Yisrael. It's your fault that all those people died. What's going on here exactly? Ramban on Pasuk Vav. Atem amitemis am Hashem. Amar unklis. Atun gramtun demisu amad Hashem. Unklis translates this. I mean, literally, atem amitemis am Hashem is you killed them. So Unklis says it doesn't mean you killed them. It means you caused them to die. Yiftor, it means ki yashimu osam. They are assigning guilt to them. Al shenasnu ho'etzazos lahaktir k'torah zara l'fnei Hashem midatam shamakrivim osan nisrafim. You set them up. You knew that they would face a terrible death for burning that incense. Ki Hashem lo amar l'Moshe lahaktir k'torah zazos. God hadn't told Moshe, this is what we should do. We should do a test to have people burn the incense. Moshe didn't quote God as saying this. This was your idea to use this test, this extremely dangerous test. And so therefore, yes, you proved that you and Aaron are justified in your positions and what you say, fine. But who told you to use this dangerous method? You could have proved it some other way, some less dangerous way. That's the Ramban's understanding of what the Unklis is saying. For Rabbi Avram Omar, Ma Rayazu, Sheshevet Levi Nivchar, V'Nivchar Aaron, L'Kohen Gadol. So the Ibn Ezra says something even more, not taking anything for granted from the people's perspective. The Ibn Ezra says, what kind of proof was this? I mean, he's saying this is what the people were saying. What kind of proof was this? What did you prove? Maybe the reason why these people had this calamity is because you davened that they should be punished. Maybe you know something they don't about how the Torah works. Maybe you tricked them. Who says this means that the tribe of Levi are chosen? Raya, Rak chashvu ki Moshe v'Aaron garmu asreifa. Oh, Shaya Onesh Pictores, Shaisa Ezara, Shalot Sivosam, Pictores Aaron, Pictores Abokake Shepirashti. The Ramban says that there does seem to be a proof to the Ibn Ezra's point, because later on in the parsha, there's this whole thing with the staffs. That let a representative of each tribe put their staff out and see whose staff flourishes, blooms, etc. So, I mean, it seems that there needed to be further proof about which tribe was chosen. So that reinforces the Ibn Ezra's approach, that they didn't believe this in the first place. Who says this is a proof? V'lo hoisa tzluna rak ala sreifa lo ala blia. Ki Hashem amar l'Moshe he'alu misaviv v'zeh yirmos al psichas pi'aretz u'Moshe higedzeh liYisrael b'shem Hashem. An interesting sidebar, this complaint about, well, God didn't tell you to do this. Well, that's not actually true. God didn't tell them about the thing with causing a flame, right? There was like a flame that consumed the people who lit the incense, and there was also the earth opening up. So God certainly had this idea about the earth opening up. God tells Moshe and Aaron, move away from Korach and Dasan and Aviram. So that seems pretty clear that the earth opening up is coming from God. Okay. V'anachon be'enai. What I think the pshat is, says the Ramban, Shayoam maminim ata bekunas Aaron. Shekvar yotza eish mufnei Hashem v'atochal as korbanosav. The people believed that Aaron is supposed to be the Kohen. He already had been an experience that a flame had consumed his offerings. But the people would have liked the firstborns to play the role not of Aaron, the high priest, but the Levies. They're not so excited about the firstborns losing their authority to the Levies. Because they desired that all of the tribes should have a share in the service of God. So now the complaint is, you've killed them because you gave this advice that they should burn the incense like the Kohanim. So the Ramban says, just to assess for a second, the Unclus's pshat seems to be that we understand that you proved that Aaron is supposed to be the Kohen Gadol, but did you really have to do it in such a dangerous way? That's the Unclus's pshat. The Ibn Ezra's pshat is they didn't buy anything from this. This is, we don't know what happened here just now, but we still don't think you've proven that Aaron is supposed to be the Kohen Gadol, the Levium are supposed to have the special role. The Ramban says they accept that Aaron is supposed to be the Kohen Gadol. I mean, it's not a big jump. I mean, Aaron Flame has come down from heaven to accept Aaron's offering. They're into that. There is an outstanding issue, which is it supposed to be that the Levies are the ones who assist him, or is it supposed to be the firstborns who assist him? And that the people didn't buy from this whole showdown. They feel this showdown was about being the Kohen Gadol, the lighting of the incense. So maybe it was a mistake that the combatants lit the incense. That's a role for the Kohen. And the Ramban brings a wonderful proof when they do the thing later with the staffs. So it talks about Aaron as being the representative of base Levi, of the tribe of Levi. So we see that the question is not as much about being a Kohen as much as does the tribe in general have special status? And the Ramban says, makes sense. They weren't sold on the whole Levi versus firstborn thing. So that's what this thing with the staffs is about. Very, very interesting, Ramban. Okay, let's jump ahead. So again, we had this new level of complaint. And now in verse 10, God says to Moshe, Heiromu mitoch edo azos, remove yourself from this group, v'achaleo sam kiraga, and I will consume them in a moment, v'yiplu apnehem. And Moshe and Aaron fell on their faces. And now is this thing that Aaron takes the incense and lights it as a salvation for people. Okay, let's see the Ramban on Pasuk Yud. Heiromu mitoch edo azos. Lo havinosi tam akasav hazeh v'chaver l'mala. Says the Ramban, I really don't understand this pasuk or a similar pasuk earlier in the parsha. Hibadlu mitoch edo azos. We discussed this pasuk earlier in the week. Hashem tells Moshe and Aaron, separate from this group. Ki yesh be'elokim lohamis b'dvar rabim saviv tzadik echad v'hu levado nishar kasher haya b'bechorei Mitzrayim. Is it not in God's abilities to pinpoint one person in a group of people and kill him and leave the other people to survive? Like God says to Moshe, I'm going to destroy a large group of the people now, so you better move away. Why does he have to move away? God can't swing it? Says the Ramban, isn't that what happened with the killing of the firstborns? You had one house to another, And by the way, in the house itself, the firstborn died and the other people didn't die. We didn't say, okay, firstborns should be isolated in their houses. Egyptian firstborns should be isolated in their houses, and whatever Egyptians don't leave the house will also die. We didn't say that. So all of a sudden now God's like, it's a little complicated to have a pinpoint attack. Could you just move a little bit? What's going on? How does that work? There's all kinds of times that there's been plagues throughout Tanakh that 3 people could be lying under one sheet, and 2 people could die, and 1 person could be saved. V'nira shaya ketzef yotze lahamis gam kol ha'eda kimisas hachatoim ha'ele shenimshechu achreim b'vsichas pi ha'aretz obo'esh hayotzes. That it would appear that the idea of this wrath from God is really intended to kill the congregation as a group. Like what happened with the opening of the earth or the flame. Veimakos kololos, these are broad attacks. Ruyos lahomis kola omdim sham biyachad, that their nature is to kill whoever's in a general spot. Sulasi imyasen nes sheni banim latim, unless God makes another miracle. This is a famous idea that shows up in many areas of Tanakh, that God tries to minimize miracles. So there's a miraculous death here. There's a miraculous plague, an unfortunate miracle, but a miracle nonetheless. So it would be, the whole nature of this is some widespreading, just terrible calamity. So it's like a second tier miracle then, to make sure that some people are saved and some people die. So what does God need to do that for? It's not that God can't, but God minimizes the miracles in this type of thing. That's one pshat. Or God is saying it in honor of the righteous. This is showing God's affection for the righteous. God says, I'm about to destroy a group of people. I don't want to destroy them if you're standing right there. But the Ramban says, whatever I'm telling you now is the literal meaning of what God is saying. But the real intent is something else. The real intent is, this is the big hint. God is hinting to Moshe, if you don't intercede on their behalf, something terrible is going to happen. So God doesn't want to say those words to him. So God says that, I think it's time to move aside because I'm going to bring a terrible calamity. I don't want you to be there for it. So Moshe intuits, wow, I better daven for them. I better do something for them. And that's exactly what happens. Moshe turns to Aaron and he asks Aaron to light the incense as a merit for them. But so it's just an interesting Ramban to think about. Now, I just want to jump ahead. It's 9:45 to be continued. Okay, so we discussed this morning the fascinating pasuk after the miraculous death of Korach and the rebels. The fascinating pasuk that the Jewish people expressed upsetness at Moshe. How could you have done this to them? What's going on with that pasuk? And now we also discussed, why does God have to ask Moshe and whoever else to move if he wants to bring a plague?